Hey everybody, Sammy here at SFI Sports Cards back with another video. Today is March 17th. Today I want to do a spotlight video on a player that was adored and loved by fans, especially in the New York and Chicago areas during his playing days and generations after his time on the field. I'm a little surprised. I have not seen too many card videos that have mentioned this man, especially this week. Now these videos, unfortunately, aren't always filled with positive stories, and as much as I wanted to highlight his career triumphs, the human story seems to always take precedence. And if you're familiar with this player, you know that his life was filled with turbulent times. I am in no way trying to glorify any of his hardships or decisions he made, but this is his life, and it's worth telling. That player is Joe Pepitone. Pepitone's career ended in 1973, 4 years before I was born, but his name still come up very often in my childhood years. The stories I've heard about him is that he was a fan favorite and heartbeat of the New York Yankees during a time where the Yankee organization, its fans and players, were all in unfamiliar territory. Being that they were not a good baseball team during the mid-1960s. The Yankees went to the World Series in Pepitone's first 3 years, but he did not play in the postseason on the 1962 World Championship team in his rookie year. The team would be swept by the Dodgers in 1963 and lose in 7 games to the Cardinals in 1964. The rest of his Yankee tenure, the team finished 6th, 10th, 9th, and 5th in the American League. But let's talk about the man and the player. Pepitone was a 3-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove Award winner, and was primarily a first baseman, but also played 390 games in center field, which is a combination of positions we don't see often, but it showed his versatility as a player. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, and grew up in the Park Slope neighborhood. He idolized his father, Willie Pepitone, but also suffered his wrath from abuse and beatings that was not unseen from people outside the family. Trouble also found him outside the home. One story being that when he was a senior in high school, he was shot by a school friend fooling around with a .38 revolver near Pepitone's locker. The bullet went through his body after hitting a rib and missing 3 vital organs. And just to add to this tragic story, his father, Willie, passed away 3 days later of a heart attack. Coming up through the Yankee system, one of his biggest supporters was Joe DiMaggio. And he relished his time playing alongside the likes of Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, Roger Maris, and Hector Lopez. A fiery competitor on the field, he found himself at the center of several beanball incidents and on-the-field baseball brawls. He was fined a couple different times due to leaving games early, not showing up to games for apparent injury. He was experiencing a failed marriage and financial trouble that would impact his personality and desire to play, which Pepitone would feel remorse and apologize for his decisions. He had a great relationship with manager Ralph Houck, especially after the passing of his father. Even though Houck had to administer fines to Pepitone, he was also a father figure and did give him some leeway for his antics and personal issues he was going through at the time. He admitted to putting his family through rough patches while giving in to his vices and immoral behavior. Pepitone was a man that really embodied the heart and soul of New York City in the 1960s. He was a fashion icon among ball players, sporting several different hairstyles, many of them wigs, and even had a hairdryer in his clubhouse locker. He actually would trim his hair pieces to comply with Yankee management's stand on hair length. He frequently would head to Las Vegas and rub elbows with the elite in show business, like dining with Frank Sinatra. He soaked up all that New York City had to offer and always had a crowd around him, whether it being teammates, mobsters, or women. In 1969, he led the Yankees in home runs, but it was time for a fresh start, and he was traded to the Houston Astros. After a half-season stint playing in the spacious Astrodome, his contract was purchased by the Chicago Cubs and played under Hall of Fame manager Leo Durocher. Durocher was very enthusiastic about acquiring Pepitone and started him right away in center field. After a terrific season in 1971, he would hang on for 2 more lackluster seasons and finishes his career in 1973 with the Atlanta Braves. Now, after his playing days, Yankee owner George Steinbrenner hired Pepitone to be a coach in the minor league system. He would go on to groom a future franchise icon. That player's name was Don Mattingly, teaching him the intricacies of playing first base. However, he still cannot escape his personal demons, getting busted for drug possession in 1988 that landed him in Rikers Island for 4 months. He would continue his frantic behavior with a bar fight in 1992 and a DUI incident in 1995. However, fans still loved him, despite his off-the-field antics. They related to him and his all-in 100% effort on the field. Being in the center of brawls, backing up his teammates. A very flamboyant, colorful, and eccentric character of the 1960s Yankees. He has been mentioned several times in pop culture, on shows such as The Sopranos, Seinfeld, and Curb Your Enthusiasm. So it's proof that he was a revered name that touched many, especially in the New York City area. Now, I've been working on trying to get my hands on former Yankees, players that impacted the game and people off the field. And I purchased this card on March 11th of this year. Joe Pepitone passed away on March 13th, 2023, of an apparent heart attack. For this video, I used sources including clips, interviews, and footage found on YouTube, biographies from Saber.com and Jim Bouton's book Ball 4, along with news articles from the New York Times and ESPN. Joe Pepitone was 82 years old.